Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink. Although he doesn't write blogs anymore. If My Sox Summer mentions his time on the West Coast, or doesn't know a player, you drink. And if I swear or say, here's the thing, you drink. Also, you can make any of us shut the fuck up for 5 whole minutes by tipping $5. And you can make any of us drink, or all of us drink, $4.08. We don't want 5 minutes of My Sox Summer tonight, so the cost is $350 tonight.
How dare you?
But speaking of drinking, fellas, I do have a question for you. What are you drinking? And I'm going to start with my guy, My Sox Summer. My Sox Summer, what delicious stuff you got for us tonight?
Right now, I'm having my taste. Doesn't count as a drink. It's a single barrel Four Roses. I got that in the glass right now.
Your liver agrees. This doesn't count.
You know what? I don't drink all week until this show, so I have to get it in. The drinks will come from this bottle that was given to me by Yumper and the guys over at the Tainted Glove. It's a Four Roses small batch, so I'm going to jump right into that after I get done with this and actually have 3 drinks of this because I can only have 3 drinks.
All right, from Dougie, cheers. Thank you for
cheers, Dougie.
For that. Do you want anyone to shut up for that?
I'll shut up.
He hasn't.
Beef, what are you drinking, baby?
Just salute. Short and sweet. Just red wine tonight. I'm drinking out of a short glass. Just because I didn't feel like having the big. I had the big wine glass when I was doing Brian S.'s show. The It's Getting Drafty pod. We did a little Sopranos draft, but I'm going short glass tonight.
So you know, Beef. I'm all stemless. I don't like stemware.
Yeah, I love stemware.
It goes along with my hate for martini glasses. I'm just too clumsy of a fuck to use these things. I hold the stem like this, like I'm running through the forest with it, you know. And so, but also like the short glass. Every time I see the wine in the short glass, it makes me feel like you're at like a really old school Italian restaurant where it's like, you know, there's still like carpeting on the wall and shit, you know, like it's a real, you know, kind of old vibe, 70s vibe.
Yeah, they bring out the little glasses,
you know.
Yep.
And I also like think of like going to like our grandparents where they would, you know, they'd have the big jug of Carlo Rossi. Now later in life, I would drink those out of supersized McDonald's cups, but that's not the same thing.
What are you feasting on today,
you know, over you know, time as we're doing the podcast, if we're doing beer, I usually end up with a scenario where I've got like 1 or 2 of each of the beers that I've had, you know, just sitting around in the fridge. And today is the clean out day. So I've got right now, I'm doing some Son of Juice right now.
Oh, delicious. One of my favorites. Love Son of Juice.
I got a pineapple guppy over here, and I think there's like a lone Victoria sitting at the bottom, just in case. break glass in case, you know, in case of fire.
Is that just on the floor near your desk? Like it's just there, like it's been left over from weeks, but you're like still drinkable right here, even though it's out in the open air.
It's under a space heater and it's open. It's just fermenting.
People are bringing up in the comments that I spent a substantial amount of money on wine this morning. Yeah, I bought like $700 worth of wine this morning, $750. That's before taxes, by the way, everyone. Wally might say it's just for 2 bottles. It was 2 cases of wine. All right, it's 2 cases. It wasn't that, you know, not that big of a deal.
So, but that's mean, like a case of what, 12 bottles or
12 bottles? Yeah, it's 12 bottles.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I'll let you do the math. 24 bottles.
24 bottles.
That's not bad.
So it's about $30 a bottle.
Those are good. That's got to be
$7 a bottle. Yeah,
it's
got to be good.
It's good wine. Yeah, man. I like to drink well.
I can't wait to come over and drink a bunch of it.
Exactly right.
Wake up in the morning looking like I blew Grimace. That's like.
That's a good life if you can live.
How do you know you didn't? That's what I would want. The man has a hot tub and access to McDonald's. So, I mean, he could have actually blown.
It's true.
A lot of access.
You never know. I mean, he's like a preferred customer as far as McDonald's is concerned. They're like, it's the McRib guy. Send Grimace over there for his monthly banging.
We don't have the McRib anymore. Let's see how many McNuggets this motherfucker could wolf down.
You know what? 40 is my limit.
Grimace is okay with it until his large ass brother started rear-ending him. It was not fun. It was not fun then, guys.
Beef's the only dude that goes into McDonald's, orders 100 McNuggets, and they ask him for here to go. MSS, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good. I'm actually. We got a lot of things to get to tonight, and there's like if something doesn't come up during the day where I'm like really excited to talk about it, I just don't want to talk about it. So I really don't have much to say. I did my question of the day today. You know, we did the dibs thing.
That was wild.
I mean, and like honestly, like people, and I saw it too. I on Twitter, people saying, yeah, dude, this is illegal. You can't call dibs when there's not enough snow to like make dibs. And I was like, no, actually, people call dibs in the summer sometimes over in Chinatown. And
that ain't right.
They just throw shit out there, and you're like, no, I don't think you can do this. And like, I had the Safe Light Auto Glass guy come in today to replace the windshield. Dude pops it out in an hour and a half. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Just like real quick. But
nice work.
Like he has no place to park on the main street because there's dibs as far as the eye can see. And as I said in the video, my neighbors can do anything they want. I don't really fucking care because, you know, hey, I got a car hole, so I can put my car in the car hole. I don't got to worry about no street parking if I don't need to. But I was looking out for my safety light guy. But we ended up going in the alley. I threw some trash cans around, and he had some space, so we were good to go.
Hey, MSS, and where we live, we don't throw dibs out of the spot. You don't take that risk in the general vicinity where we live. You just leave them dibs right the fuck where they are.
I didn't do it. I'm definitely not touching that. I have lived on low, you know, for a while here in Bridgeport, and everyone's always like, "Oh, good block." And I'm like, I'm just gonna not rock the boat. I don't put up campaign signs. I don't try to like show any of my.
We've all seen that huge Trump flag you hang on.
I don't even do that. The most offensive thing I put out is a White Sox flag, and it says season ticket holder on it, and then people are like, "Man, that guy's stupid." So that's all you got from me tonight.
Beef, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. You know, I caught a little, I guess you might call it a documentary on Netflix. It's called This Is Pop. It's got a bunch of different episodes. And the particular episode that I caught this week, I was flipping through. I was like, which one am I interested in watching? It was about T-Pain and auto-tune. So T-Pain is a singer. And I'm sure you know, and this is T-Pain. I'll bring T-Pain up onto the screen so everyone can see T-Pain. He has many hit songs. But really, I was fascinated about the auto-tune aspect. Like you always heard the term studio magic, but I didn't know that there was a thing that made singers' voices as basically as perfect as possible. And I knew Jay-Z had a song called "Death of Auto-Tune," so I kind of generally knew the concept, but I didn't really know that this thing was created by Andy Hildebrand in 1997. And apparently, that once he created it and producers started hearing about it, they all fucking wanted to use it. And this T-Pain guy used it to an extreme. He wanted to like get a goofy accent out of his voice. And apparently like he got nothing but shit the entire time for doing this. In fact, Usher pulled him over when they were both on the same flight. He pulled him over to his seat and told him he is ruining music for pure singers. And he didn't even and T-Pain couldn't clear his name until he went on some NPR thing where he didn't have the auto-tune. And he sung, and the treatment of the song is obviously different because he's not using the effect on his voice, and he sings terrific. Like it's not that he can't sing; he's using this as an effect. So my question for you guys are music guys. I'm gonna go to Treasy first. What are your thoughts in general on auto-tune? Is this like hurtful to music in general, or is this just another effect in the toolbox for musicians?
No. So here's the thing. So one, the way T-Pain used it. It's not. It's more like a guitar pedal effect, kind of where he uses it so heavily that you can obviously tell it's there. Like it's not like he's using it in the studio because he was out of tune at one point and he just like fixed that. But let me just, ruin this for everybody. I guess every instrument does that. Like vocals were just last. Like there's everyone like once shit went digital, like you did not have to be perfect in the studio.
No.
Like as soon as it became a digital game, you can go in and take out one fucking note. Like I don't like the way that sounds. Bloop, take that out. Like you can change pitches, you could do all kinds of stuff in the digital game. But the end of the day, don't fucking matter. You know why? Because you got to go perform that live. If you can't pull it, like to me, and this is maybe my being a purist or something.
in our 90s. Yes.
No. I don't think it is. I think that this is a
is.
widely held belief that when you are putting something on a recording, that it should be a representation of what you're doing live. Right.
Oh,
and
no,
so,
yeah.
so you're gonna put that on, and there's not radios anymore. I don't know. You guys ever listen to radio other than talk radio? So like you can put on Spotify or whatever, right? And like, and people are gonna listen to it, right? Hold on. There's a comment that I have to address. The Jackie put in there. Yeah. Reverb covers many a sin. There used to be a show called I think it was called like The Five or something, and it was like you do this top 5 list, and they had Spinal Tap on there, and David St. Hubbins' #1 rock innovation was reverb because it could make white dudes sound as cool as black dudes. That was
that's outstanding.
but yeah, so like I mean like. To me, you're going to play that and people are going to listen to it. But how you as an artist are actually going to make money is going out and performing this. And if you suck live, then it doesn't matter. So you could do all the studio tricks and make yourself sound as good as possible. But man, when they tell you, hey, you're going to do the Super Bowl Star Spangled Banner, you better be able to fucking sing. Don't go out there sounding like Carl Lewis.
Hey, we don't need to
help me out with this one now, people.
We don't need a ball bat, Carlos. MSS, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this topic?
I mean, Treasy said 87,000 things that need to be addressed, but like, I mean,
do it. Get in there, baby. Get in there.
Does it bother me? No, absolutely, it doesn't bother me because everybody is subjective, and everyone like art is subjective. Singing is subjective. Who gives a fuck? You can do whatever you want, and I think I think Treasy definitely hit on a 90s ethos because that's something that I would think too. Is this like if you can't recreate it live, then what's the point? But then you have the Beatles, and the Beatles never played live, and they seem to have done pretty well selling records. So I don't know, like it's just like it's a totally different game. Like
well, in the 60s, not now,
right? But
different.
They're still, you know what? I'm sure the Beatles sell a lot more records than some like regular mainstream bands that are still out there playing.
Think about the comparison though of like who's gigantic right now that kind of crosses all kinds of people, and Taylor Swift performs live. She does. And she has to be incredible live because everybody hears her on the record. If she was just a studio magic motherfucker, she wouldn't have this following.
Well,
that's true.
Probably not. I mean, but there's also, and I wonder.
But there's artists like J-Lo who can't sing that has a big following and uses all this shit effects on the voice and gets that all lined up or whatever.
Beef, that's a show, man. That's like going to see Cirque du Soleil. It's like going to see Cirque du Soleil.
It's a little bit of a different thing. I agree. Let's take this drink real quick and then we'll keep this conversation rolling. Sure. Thank you, Yumper. He said, "Buy you a drink." Yeah, you got the bit, baby.
Thank you. The Beatles did play live, but they stopped playing live after like one tour of the Americas. Like they didn't play live hardly at all. They never.
But
toured.
They did build their brand on live shows. That's how they did.
And in all reports, I mean, my God, it was just women screaming at them. So like no one could hear anyway. So they could have been totally awful live. We would have known.
Wow, he's stunned.
So no,
for a second he stopped.
Did I fight
a little bit?
You know what happened?
Froze up perfectly because it was just like you had your mouth open. You were like, it was awesome.
Last week I was told, I shut off the Wi-Fi on my phone and I didn't go through Wi-Fi, and I was like, yeah, I had no problems, and she's like, that's awesome, and I was like, yeah, can you see that again? And apparently not. So yeah, it doesn't bother me. And like new factions at one point, people, and I don't think people are like this with auto-tune, but like at one point people were like, rap sucks. Rap, like people using samples, that's stupid. And like, my God, now everyone uses samples. I'm like, even live musicians use sample. I mean, it's just nuts. So like, I love it. Like anything that it keeps things moving and innovates music and makes it new again is fun.
What though? You bring up an incredibly
agreed, MSS agreed.
You bring up an incredibly good point here though, which ties it together nicely. Is when you talk about like rappers that are using samples, right? Yeah. When you go see that live, man, it is such a better experience when they have the DJ on stage doing those backing tracks, using records and shit. Like that shit's awesome. Like, and especially when they break it, like go like, just let this guy go off and the DJ is insane. Like that, like that's some shit. That's an instrument, man.
It is, and I'm like, and they're doing something. It's also fun to see bands that have like samples and then actually perform with a live band, or a rapper that performs with a live band.
Yeah, rapper with live band is fantastic.
Like kind of the first couple times I saw Atmosphere, like they had a live group, live band with them, and then they went in a totally different direction. And the first time I saw them, like with the two DJs, I was like, I don't know, but then I was like, oh yeah, no, I know this is good. I like it because it was just different music. Like, you gotta love these bands that like continue to evolve and turn it into something different, even if you don't like it. You gotta do it.
Me and Beef saw the Roots at a tiny place on the UFC campus, and man, I was changed.
Yeah,
that was a performance, man. I couldn't I walked out of there like I can't believe what I didn't go to see them. They were opening for Beck.
Yeah,
and
but you could feel Questlove's drumming in your guts, like that. That's
God.
the kind of show it was. It was great.
I remember watching the bass player just going like, I'll never be able to do that.
It's good stuff, man. I love it.
And I can attest that I still cannot do any of the shit that he was doing. Cheers to Senor Socks.
Thank you, Senor Socks.
All right,
let's get back first. One just quick second before we move on, because I know Chris got some banter. Julie's asking who's talking about my woman Jennifer Lopez. I just said she uses autotune, and she's not a great singer. But Treasy followed up with it's the whole body of the performance. That's what it is. J-Lo's a whole thing, the dancing and everything. So it's more of a show, and that's absolutely correct.
She's a fly girl, man.
I got no problems with J-Lo. I was just talking about the vocal, and since we were talking about autotune, that's it, baby.
All right, just don't bring up Rosie Perez next and talk shit about her. We'll throw it out. We'll throw it out, man. That's right. So I want to talk about something real quick, because we're not going to be able to get to it because we got more stuff in the show that we didn't, plan to have in the show. It came up late, but
dicks.
There was a trade between the Marlins and the Twins. So the Arias for Lopez trade, and so what's interesting about this is when I look at a trade, and what's nice is that there's been some like major league to major league trades, so you really kind of know both players in the trade. And so I looked at this one, and I like to look at it to see, not, if I'm trying to compare the players to one another, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. What I'm trying to do is look at the team that I care about, because I hate them, is the Twins. Did the Twins get better in this trade? And it's interesting because it's hard to get better when you're trading a 4 WAR player, right? Like when you're saying like, here's a guy who's worth 4 WAR last year, you're trading away, he's 25 or 26 now.
Yep.
How did you get better? But when you look at it, Arias was kind of relegated to first base. There wasn't room for him anywhere. And there's even less room when Royce Lewis comes back, right? If he gets healthy and he comes back, now there's even less room for this guy. So you have him in there as a bat where like you're going to put him at first or DH, right? Yep. And so that's kind of a weird spot to have a guy like that because he has no power, right? He has 14 home runs on the career, right?
That's correct.
So I looked at it. You move him off the team, right? And now that hurts. But who's replacing him at first base? Kirillov's coming into first base.
Yeah,
if
he's healthy. Like. If he's healthy by the time the season.
Well, that's the thing, Beef. Yeah. If there's one way to keep that guy healthy, it's to put him at a position like first base. You get him out of the outfield. It's you're first base DH guy now, right? And they can afford to do that. And when Royce Lewis comes back, it could be like Kirilloff and Miranda's first base and DH. And then you could even move Correa over to third, right? So I think offensively it doesn't hurt as much as you think. I was looking at Fangraphs, though, and this is the interesting thing. Pablo Lopez is listed number 1 starter on the Twins.
Yeah.
Meaning their staff was so bad. You think about how bad your staff is. You're taking like basically a 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 on the Marlins and going, this guy's your best pitcher. Easily. Just straight out, he's your best pitcher. So I think they had such a need at pitcher that this was a good move for them. But one thing I keep thinking about, like just timing wise, and not to use a pun here, but I think it's a little fishy.
Oh,
that the Marlins come with this trade with a guy who had some shoulder. He had a rotator cuff injury. He logs 180 innings last year.
First time in his career. First time he ever ramped it up that much.
The Marlins see the Twins just not give a fuck about Correa's medicals because 2 teams passed on Correa from his medicals.
Their doctor's a little more lenient. They might have Dr. Nick. Who knows?
Don't give a shit, or they just don't care. They're just willing to take that risk.
Let's
and
get
they're
baby.
Like,
shoot him up.
We would like to give you. We would like to trade you this guy.
Blast that shoulder. Let's go, baby.
So I'm a little suspect there. I'm a little suspect of their intentions.
I talked about this with Alex Rudy. I had him on the show on Monday night. We discussed this trade. A lot of White Sox fans are like breathing a sigh of relief that arises out of here in Pablo Lopez. And Pablo Lopez is a fucking nightmare to right-handed hitters. He is a really bad matchup for the White Sox in theory. We'll see how this ends up playing out in reality. The thing that Alex had against it was like, you have a bunch of number 3 starters, like you mentioned, Treasy. When you look at roster resource, they put him number 1. That's because they got a lot of guys just like this guy as the rest of the rotation. Now, that may work out okay in the regular season. We're about to see. I don't know. I mean, they filled the need there because they have a lot of young pitchers unproven. And you're right. They had kind of too many bats there. But Arias was like their second best bat and their biggest on-base threat, right? He's the only guy that's going to post 370 on base. Yeah, exactly.
375 on base last year.
So it's not that they didn't give up some shit. So I'm interested. I like that teams are, like you mentioned up front, teams are starting to have balls and make some fucking trades, man. It's fun. It used to be they wouldn't do this shit, and now it's fun to see it. So I don't think the Twins got worse. I mean, it's very possible they got better. So I'm interested to see how it plays out.
I think to me they got better. But at the same time, they're still bad. I still think
fuck them.
I still think we can dunk on them. I just like the idea of like when you're rolling those dice of which pitchers you're going to get for the series. Like I liked it when there was guys that I didn't even know who they were.
It's better.
Now I'm just rooting for guys that I know can't pitch anymore.
The part of the story I don't like.
Cheers, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers
and,
to Lynn.
And to Lynn.
And thanks to Shane Reardon, who I think put Lynn in the White Sox Twitter sphere, because Lynn I know responded to me one time, and he doesn't follow me, and I was like, "This is insane! Like this is great! Like I like it's just an institution, and it was nice to be recognized by something like that." And what a sad story. Okay, the part of the story I don't like about the Twins, Treasy, is I'm just finding out that my little baby boy Miguel Sano is a free agent, and we have not signed him yet. I just looked at his baseball reference page. Listen, he can play first base. He can play right field. Now, we can have a tag team. Listen to this. Listen. It can be a thruple. We're going to have him playing first. He can play first. He can play right field. He can DH. Aloy, right field, DH. Andrew Vaughn, DH, first base. Thruple.
You just wanted to say thruple.
No,
you just wanted to say thruple. You just
I want to say thruple times. It's great. Miguel, I love you guys know how much I love Miguel Sano.
Yeah.
I don't worry that I googled Miguel Cano first. Don't worry about that.
There you go.
Miguel Sano. That is,
put him in a baseball or porn star later in the season, Treasy, and see if he gets it. I don't know if he'll get it right later.
What's amazing is that you picked him as an X factor one year.
I did.
Because he truly was, and you said, hey, he could be really good or he could be really bad. He's really bad. He's proven. He's terrible.
Listen,
and now he's your guy.
Yeah, I want him back. No, I want him back. I need him to come back.
The Twins. I'm good with him coming back to the Twins.
The other thing that would be really nice is that no one would want his jersey, and it's probably my size. I can pick that up in the White Sox garage sale for about $75. It'd be awesome. Come on, it would be awesome.
K-Dog says MSS fought Miguel Sano in a restroom at the Target Field. You know what? If it was Miguel Sano, I wouldn't have backed up MSS. I would let him get his ass kicked.
Miguel Sano after like 2 Michelob Golden, he's killing us. He's
picking us both up and throwing us on the field.
He'd be like, "Get over here, you fucking big nose bitch!" And he just beat the shit out of you after I'm like underneath his boot, going, "Run!"
Man, he had to sideswipe you on the nose, Beef.
Of course he did. Of course, he never misses.
Now that you're done, you got to go to the lowest common denominator. So now
that you're done running a bus over Beef Loaf, tell us about some Mazdas.
I will gladly, Treasy. Oh, yeah, I'll get the graphic up. Okay.
I thought you were doing it. Sorry.
I always forget to do it. I'm not good at this. Thank you. Merry New Year from the awesome staff over at Mazda of Orland Park. The Zoom Nation serves Orland Park, Tinley Park, Oak Lawn, Countryside, and the greater Chicagoland area. They feature the best service, sales, parts, and inventory people in the business. They are one of the nation's top Mazda dealer groups. Orland Mazda prides itself on its serving the community each and every day. Mazda of Orland Park has a strong and committed sales staff with years of satisfying customers' needs. Combined, their staff has more than 60 years of experience. With 6 decades of experience, you know that every time you visit Mazda of Orland Park, you will leave feeling fully satisfied. Feel free to browse their inventory online, www.mazdaoforlandpark.com, where you can also schedule service, request more information about vehicles, value your trade, or inquire about financing. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation, 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom.
Well done, my friend. Well done, my friend. Now we're gonna take it down a level right now. We're gonna talk about obviously when I say that, you know, we're gonna talk about Mike Clevenger, right? Yeah. And so by now you've heard this from all the different blogs and podcasts out there, and you know you've heard we have to talk about this, right? You heard that we don't want to talk about this. We have to talk about this. I honestly felt like we didn't have to talk about this. I think, you know, our shows usually just drunk rants and we talk baseball and we have fun. But I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to bring this out, and I think it's been pretty well covered by other blogs. I think if you want to listen to some other people talk about it, I would definitely recommend you listen to Sox Machine. I think they were the best on it.
Agreed.
But so as you probably already heard, Mike Clevenger has some very serious accusations against him, both from abusing both his former partner and child. And I think the one thing that I keep seeing out there is like this kind of we'll need to wait and see what happens, you know. And it personally, I'm just gonna say, like, I'm fucking done giving this guy the benefit of the doubt, right? Since he's been here, we've been giving him the benefit of the doubt. First, you had the COVID protocol issue that we knew, and you could go, oh, we're gonna chalk it up to boys being boys, and they just wanted to party, and you know, whatever. Then he's part of the Trevor Bauer investigation, and you're like, well, maybe it's just guilt by association. You give him the benefit of the doubt again. And then when he signed, you know, I remember even like our friend Alexis Atwater's out there saying this guy abandoned his family, you know. And I think a lot of us saw that and we're like, that's not good. This is not good. But we're still giving him the benefit of the doubt here, right? Like, we don't know the whole story, whatever. Now this, you know what? Fuck this guy. I can't give, like, you know, like, I'm all for second chances. This is like his 15th chance, right? Like, you know, like, well, who's that guy in the NFL that like got busted, like was busted on the drug program like 47 times? And it's like, well, you know what? Maybe there's just some problems that you're not going to fix, right, and stay in this profession, right? Like, maybe these two things just don't mix. So that said, I think you know where I stand. I don't like this guy. There's just too many like red flags for me to say like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait and see how this plays out. Like, I'm not there. Fuck that. So I just want to kick it to you guys before we talk about the Sox and how this affects the Sox. I want to kick it to you guys. And if you guys have anything to say about the topic.
Go ahead, MSS. You go first.
The first thing I was gonna, Wally posted a question, it's wasn't Trevor found innocent? And like, listen, in a lot of these cases,
no. So hold on. I have to answer that question.
Okay,
he was not found innocent. The DA did not find enough to prosecute, so they chose not to prosecute. However, he was suspended by Major League Baseball for what, like 200 games or something.
It's like 170 games or something.
So it was over a season. It was over a season. Yeah. And the people that just reinstated him, which was the separate was an external arbitrator, they said that they thought that the punishment was correct and that he did all this shit that would result in such an insane punishment for a player. Now you think about that because you think about how little guys like Chapman and Ozuna got, and then he got that. They found enough for that. Just because the DA decided not to go after him does not make him an innocent person.
Right.
Like, let's just be clear about that shit.
It's also notoriously hard to convict somebody on this kind of stuff. Like, it's not easy to do this because there's a lot of hearsay. The woman's character is going to get attacked, which her character definitely got attacked when she went to go to trial and go into this against him. And it's not a fun ride for a female in this thing. And also they're probably, it's just hard to prove innocence or guilty in this. So I mean, she like, I mean, I commend her for going forward and taking that abuse. And I think that the new woman here, I think her name is Olivia Feinstein, is the most recent baby mama with Clevenger here. She is like, I felt like it's been empowered by her by going forward to continue to go forward. There was something wrong going on in San Diego because Clevenger, Bauer were with that same girl. So was Fernando Tatis. I mean, it was just a lot. There was a lot of shit going on that came out in that deposition. It's weird. Anyway, that doesn't matter. On the personal level on this, and I tweeted it and I posted it. All the people that are saying you need to let due process wait, you let due process happen. Yes. The organization might need to do that. Me as a fan, I don't need to do that. No. If this was my daughter or my daughter's friend, my sister, my cousin or whatever, I'm inserting myself into the conversation. I'm not going out and saying, oh, I'm going to go kill this person. I'm going to go and talk to this person to find out what the fuck's going on. And I don't care if I'm fucking old because I'm a lot older than my kids. And when they get into this age and I have to talk to some punk ass 16-year-old, hey, listen, this is why I'm staying in the gym. This is why I'm motivated. This is why 108 weight loss. Because when these motherfuckers come into this house and they're going to be like, oh, I could just push so-and-so around. I'm going to be like, no, you can't, because Dad's 6'4" and weighs less than he did a year ago, and he drinks a lot, but he's still going to kick your ass. So just be careful. So, you know, on a personal level, like, I saw that tweet. I don't want to mention the person's name, but I was like, fuck you. Like, I mean, literally, like, if this was your daughter, you would not say this. You would not say trust due process because
right.
You wouldn't. You would not. You would go out there and you would take care of business if you're a fucking father, and I'm sure he's a pretty decent father. Now, as far as, like, you know, I mean, that's what I have, you know, on a personal level with this. The guy's scum. Well, I don't need him. I know we're going to the next point. So, yeah, Loaf.
Beef, did you have anything to add there, or are you just...
Not much, and I just kind of echo what you guys say, like, whether or not he gets brought up on... Even if MLB decides to put him back in there and let him play and doesn't suspend him, the guy's a troublemaker. You guys know in your life, you avoid people who are like this. Yeah. If you see a person like this and you're trying to do something serious, you do not want them involved. You don't invite them over to your house. You don't want them anywhere near anything you're doing. And so, like, it doesn't matter really. There's enough smoke where you know that this guy is bad news. And I don't know if he did this or not. You know, I'm apt to believe the victim, but it doesn't matter. There's just too much smoke around this guy. He's bad news. You know, I just don't trust him.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct.
I'm gonna get to the drinks. I just want to touch on this one point first, and then we'll get into a little bit more of a fun topic on this, which is unbelievable that we can do. But the next thing is the Sox, right? And so, like, I think a lot of people are pissed at the Sox. I get it. My personal view, the way that I'm going to look at this, is I'm going to choose to believe that the Sox did not know, right? They did not know about this investigation. They did know he's an asshole, right? They knew that, like, everyone knew that. But let's say they're like, hey, you know, AJ Przinsky worked out. We're going to try this. At the end of the day, the way that I see this for the Sox is that they have no choice now. Whatever they knew, whatever they didn't know, they painted themselves into this corner. They're here, right? So they can't cut him right now. And I think, you know, Jim Margulis said it really well, is like, yeah, I don't want this guy to get paid. So I would rather they hold him. And then if MLB suspends him, they wait until that suspension's over and then they cut him. And I think that is the optimal way that the Sox should do this. I don't know if you guys agree. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Or I don't know if you've, we could just talk about how much we want to fire Rick Hahn, but we talk about that all the time. So I don't think there's anything to add there.
Well, Teresa, you mentioned that you're going to believe that they did not know. And you're going to choose to believe that
this is very much me, like Matrix taking the pill.
Well, I was debating it. I was debating it to myself whether or not I thought it was worse them knowing or not knowing. Because in a way, if they knew,
there's the worst.
It's possible that they thought, okay, we don't think that the charges are legitimate, or they think the risk reward calculation of, there's a lot of bad guys in MLB and we need this bad guy to win with our team. That is at least a thought process right there.
Right.
It's
not a good one.
I don't agree with
it.
I don't agree with any of it, but it's a thought process. Them not knowing just makes them seem incompetent, like they always seem incompetent with everything. Like, no background checks, no due diligence on anything. And like, there's widely available shit out there from 2020 that some people pointed us to. There's just like, okay, here's an example of something. Like, this is not a nothing here. You mentioned some of the other items, Treasy. It's like, there's enough out there where it's like, there is at least a question about his character. And it's like,
100%.
you don't sign that person the instant you could put money out on the street, right? It seems extremely weird.
The quickness of it is fucked up, right? Like how quickly they went after that. And you would think that they'd be sensitive to shit like this because they have active lawsuits against them right now. They've had Omar Vizquel in the organization. On the other side of town, let's say on the north side of town, they had the whole Addison Russell thing. On the west side of town, they had their coach that was diddling. They've had, this is a very well-known Chicago problem that has sunk a lot of organizations and put them in a bad spotlight. So if you had any inkling, Jesus fucking Christ, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So I'm not sitting here and I'm with you, Teresi. I'm choosing to believe they didn't know. They went through a PR nightmare with Tony La Russa for a DUI. There's no way in hell they were like, yeah, this happened. We'll work our way out of it. And their lack of talking about it, obviously, is definitely they're not going to. And I would reference the Sox Machine podcast as a good thing. Josh is a little hot-headed after a while, but Jim is
I love it.
Jim is like Jim is not like a irrational person, but he is also not he's not going to protect anybody in this case, right?
No.
And if he's telling me that the White Sox need to take a beat here and just see how it plays out as far as the contract and everything, this is that I can understand that. I can also understand that and I don't know if this is the same thing, but when I was looking for a job and I was asking for people to give me a letter of recommendation in the state of California, they could not give me a letter of recommendation because if potentially I gave them that letter of recommendation, I didn't get hired, I could sue the people that gave it because, they were like, I'm like, well, you just prevented me from getting a job. Now I can sue you. So everything I've heard, and I heard this on Red Line Radio, so God help me. But like the MLB investigations, until it goes public, everything is sealed, and none of the teams know that. It's even been brought to your attention.
So I did hear that.
Padres might not even know about it.
I did hear that, and I thought about something. When I heard that. So I agree that the MLB investigators probably didn't say anything about this,
right.
But they had to have questioned a bunch of people. And if I know anything about Major League Baseball, no one can keep their fucking mouth shut.
That's true.
Jeff Passan knows when players are signed before the player's fucking born. All right. So
that's right.
So I will say that there's I get MLB investigators were probably like, we ain't telling anybody shit about this. This is our job. We do this and we keep people anonymous, and that's how we do it. But they had to question people. And if someone got questioned for 50 minutes about Mike Clevenger and they don't like Mike Clevenger, they told somebody. Hey, guess what this asshole did? Let's guess, So
and also
I'm guessing when you're an asshole, a lot of people don't like you. I know a lot of people don't like me, and I'm pure asshole.
Treasy, I thought about it because Ethan Katz vouched for him, right? He was like, and there was this glowing article right before this news came out by James Fegan about all this stuff he's going to do with him. It made me think of Harlem Nights. Remember when Tommy Smalls was stealing and the other guy brought him in and Bugsy Calhoun was like, and you handpicked him and broke his hand in the piano?
Yeah. They got to do that to cats.
That's how Ethan Katz is right now. He's in the stadium right now. They're holding him there. It's like, we're just going to make sure first before we do something.
Reinsdorf is smoking a cigar saying, and you handpicked him.
and that's another thing that Jim said too. If their whole recruiting process of pitchers is just asking Ethan Katz if he likes them, then there's a problem. And
Koopel fix them all over again, baby.
And hearing the
that's Koopel background check him is what it actually is.
Reading the testimony
Yeah.
where the Bauer victim was also involved with Clevenger, and then Tatis Stewart, you're just like, okay, there's a lot of smoke here. So yes, no, yeah, but like you're also giving a guy a benefit of like that didn't need to be done, right? Like you didn't need to do that. Also. And like the Sox, from what I've never seen, we don't have like a lot of inside information when it comes down to the Sox and they're dealing with players behind closed walls. But I do know that there was allegations against. Cheers, thank you, Taco Gladiator.
We'll get to all the drinks in a minute. I'm gonna run.
You guys just did it. So I was just like, well, fuck it. I thought we were doing it. Sorry. But there was one guy that was definitely a former pitcher for the White Sox in 2018 that was released in June. Figure it out. He had a cat that was very popular. He was released by the White Sox because of an allegation. Well, he sucked balls, but he also was harassing somebody in the front office. And that was a rumor that like got to me. So if it got to me, again, a guy that has no connections, seemingly no connections with the White Sox. And nobody's like, I'm not James Fox, okay? People aren't giving me skip. I'm not footlong Comiskey dog. They're not funneling me shit in the DMs. Okay?
Well, you got the footlong. It's just
but
not
I
the
got
Comiskey
that.
dog.
So if it gets to me, then obviously because there's definitely something going on. So, I mean, we heard all about the Todd Frazier stories with, Sale in the locker room and all that stuff. And that was all confirmed. I have no reason to believe that this did not happen also. So I don't think the Sox are ones that would take a chance on somebody if they knew the depths of it. But yes, there's definitely some questions. And Loaf, you brought up a good point.
So we're going to do some drinks now. And then we're going to get on to the next part of this topic. So let's do some. You're going to need some drinks for this next.
Yes,
that's why I report. I got
everybody drink.
Also, Terezi, before they do it, it doesn't matter if they knew. Well, it does matter if they knew before it, but it's going to matter a lot if he's found okay or whatever, how they handle the situation. For me, he needs to be immediately released after he has been cleared of wrongdoing or.
Once he's going to get suspended. He's going to get suspended. Like, you don't have a 6-month investigation that doesn't end in a suspension. Right. Like, it's not like they figured out, oh, this guy didn't do anything, and then 6 months later they're like, well, maybe we should talk about it now.
He needs
they would have cleared him right away. All right, let's get to
I want to make sure that was clear.
Josh, cheers. Good luck to your 49ers this weekend. Unless I bet against them.
I was going to say, unless you got some Eagles money, you're good.
Brian S. Cheers. He said, well said, Treasy. You are forgiven for your Bobby Bacala slander. Now, I got to talk about this.
Yeah, correct that.
So Beef was on the It's Getting Drafty podcast the other night. They did a Sopranos draft. It's awesome. Go check it out. I was cracking up the whole time. I was just like, I was enjoying like all of the banter back and forth. But my computer, which I have a new computer now, I was watching this on the old computer, the one that died last week in the middle of the show, and my YouTube like refreshed for like a minute, so I was like a minute and a half behind the show, and so you guys were first talking about the Frank Vincent character getting his head run over,
Filiatardo,
and I wrote that was an extremely satisfying death in the series, but when that popped up on YouTube for you guys to see, you guys were talking about Bobby Bacala getting killed.
Yes.
Which a lot of people hate. And I thought, oh man, I should correct myself. And then I thought, no, fuck that guy too. And so I just left. And now I'm an official Bobby Bacala hater. I hate him. I hate his fucking trains.
Worst.
And I hate how stupid he is all throughout the show. Deserves what he got. All right.
You're just jealous. Steve Sharippa follows me on Twitter.
That is actually
We post this. We post this. What Sammy Davis said. Because if we didn't, and I don't know if he's being a joke, but because it's not a joke. I mean, I know this is like a legit thing. I think he's being serious. And Sammy Davis says, like, for all his faults, Ryan Rutherford is a very progressive, especially when it comes to gender issues. I don't think he would have signed off on it had he known. And I agree. The White Sox have been at the forefront when it comes for inclusion for the LGBT community, having the first like Pride Night, like it's huge. And it's kind of embarrassing because Wrigley's right in Boys Town and they don't even they didn't even celebrate Pride before they did on the South Side. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, no, Jerry is very progressive, and then also with all the stuff that he does for inner city youth baseball programs too. So it doesn't like
I do love that.
him from being,
I do love that part. I still wish he'd spend more money on the baseball team.
It doesn't make him less of a cheap person, but he definitely gives back a lot to the communities. He has a lot to get back though.
TJ, thank you. It's proud to listening to proud to 108 listening to this. Good on y'all. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bless you,
and I appreciate the drink.
Yeah, thank you.
Delicious.
Mike Praz, he's out there. He says, well said, Treasy. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
That's the first time. Well said, Treasy.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I don't know if anyone's ever said that.
We should make it into a shirt.
Got to bury him, We should shirt that.
Here's the thing. Well said, Treasy. That'd be a good
Senor Socks. I'm not going to read that one, but I love it.
Senor Socks. Thank you, my friend.
It's funny. God damn.
Let's see how many more we got. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through a lot here.
I was going to say, yeah, we got
Oh,
more,
Jared. Thank you. I think we already cheers to this, but
thanks,
I'm
Jared.
willing to drink
Yeah,
again. For you.
only MSS did.
Yeah,
I was drinking water.
You guys
when
both
saw me.
drank, and then
I had
was
water.
like,
though.
all right,
That was some water. That wasn't my wine.
I drink all the time. It's my Achilles heel. It's my only vice.
Here you go. The last one.
Yeah. Quasimodo predicted all this.
During the It's Getting Drafty podcast, Yumper had a bunch of drops handy, and he fucking killed me every time he played Bobby Bacala saying,
I was
Quasimodo predicted this.
I was loving it. He had just like all my favorite lines from the whole show. They was just like, Yump's right here with me, man. He'll send me like blood in, blood out stuff in the middle of the night. I'll be like, I'll like wake up in the morning and be like, yeah.
Man, middle of the night. What kind of weird shit are you talking about?
Middle of the night for me is anything after 10 p.m. Right?
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Went to bed at 9:30, just prepping for this.
Dude, I get up early, man. I get up. Not as early as some of our friends that are working outside and shit, right? But early for
Cheers
me.
to those guys.
A 75-year-old man still working myself.
Steve-O asked, who's worse at vetting employees, a Sox front office or management at Chili's in New Lenox? I don't know. It's a toss-up right there.
That's
and
cool.
then Timothy Maher says, Treasy hates Big ZD, he hates model trains, and hates Bobby Bacala. That's true right now. That's all.
You know what's
true.
fucking hilarious? I had Big ZD for dinner yesterday. So that's not true. I'll take all the rest. I'll take all the rest of the heat. You can't throw that one on me. All right.
Actually, Bobby Bacala and Ken WO is a good comp. That's a pretty good comp. I think Ken is more of a dick. Ken's a little bit more of a dick than Bobby Bacala was.
So the next part of this, we've had enough Ken WO from you. So the next part of this is that they're down to 4 pitchers now, right? They're down to 4 pitchers because
at the time
they did this. Oh, we got a couple more.
I was gonna say the drinks are pouring in. Let's get back to these drinks and we'll
thanks, Jerry.
We'll settle it.
Jerry, great one. It only takes one drink to get drunk. I just never know if it's the 14th or 15th. Cheers, boys. Cheers, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
And Julie says, cheers to grape jelly, y'all. Cheers.
Terrific
Cheers.
poll the other night about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I loved it.
All right. Sox have 4 starting pitchers now. Which is not good.
Hopefully.
You need 1, 2, 3, 4 starter. And so who is that guy? Who do you want that to be? Beef, give me a graphic of maybe like all the available starting pitchers out there.
Here's what's out there if we aren't
good
resigned to our fate that it's going to be Davis Martin. This is the group. I'm putting it up here on YouTube so you can check. These are the remaining starting pitchers. I pulled this from MLB Trade Rumors, and it's a very it's an interesting list. I'll say if not star-studded list.
Now, Beef, did you want to go through the whole list, or did you want to just pick
Whatever,
some?
however you want to do it, baby. Whatever feels right to you.
I feel like you should go through the list.
I
feel like you should go through the list. I didn't quite understand what you were saying the first time you told me the idea, but now I kind of love it. Now that I know what you're gonna do, and I want you to go through the list.
All right, so I'm gonna quiz the boys. We're gonna go down this list of free agent starting pitchers that are still out there, and I'm gonna ask them if it's intriguing to them or fart noise. If it's intriguing, maybe we'll stop for a little bit and talk about the pitchers. So you boys ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The first
Can't see me,
pitcher.
but I am.
The first pitcher is Chase Anderson.
Porn star. Oh, wait, wrong game. Sorry. So fart noise. I don't.
I don't know who that is.
I'm with you here. We both got a drink because I don't know who
I don't know
Chase
who that
Anderson
is.
Beautiful. Next up on this list is Chris Archer. Fart noise or interesting?
I mean,
I think he's cooked.
I'm
I
marvel.
think Chris Archer's cooked.
I'm marginally interested.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Spring training invite maybe.
Okay.
See,
You would drag him in for a little bit. All right. I see. it.
MSS. Okay. You know what? You've piqued my interest. If you could get him on a non-roster invite type, like minor league contract, I would be interested in Chris Archer. And if you dangle in front of him, look, dude, we got no fifth starter right now. We got no fifth starter. So you could be a major league pitcher on our team, or you could just have a great audition.
You could be a major league pitcher. It's like, bro, I am a major league pitcher.
No, not anymore. Major league pitcher. Cook. You are
you. Come on through.
You are
Now,
the fucking Pirates took Vince Velasquez instead of you. That's the pitch.
Wonderful.
we need this though. We need one mound. Chris Archer just right off the mound. Instagram post from the White
That's
Sox
Fernando
account.
Rodney.
That's Fernando
gonna be-
Rodney. That's not Chris Archer.
Well, I thought Chris Archer did the same thing though, and did that thing.
I don't
Oh, he
think
doesn't?
so. I mean,
Nah,
if
I
he
don't
does,
want
I'm
to
not
have him
aware of it.
now.
I'm not aware of it.
If Chris Archer's doing archery, I don't.
That's what I thought it made sense.
Maybe he does. I don't know. I missed
think
that.
he
so.
does, but maybe not.
All right, let's move down the list
All
to the
right.
next one. Trevor Bauer is fart noise or
noise
intriguing?
Oh,
Fart noise
Jesus.
all day. Fuck that guy.
That was a
Better
juicy
for
one.
That guy's a
My
dick.
my old BFF Dylan Bundy. Fart noise intriguing.
I'm intrigued.
Obviously.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
intrigued. You know what?
100% for you, buddy.
Think about this.
My guy.
Think about the beef we would have on this team if we had Lance Lynn and Dylan Bundy.
Oh,
I mean, like, I don't even care if Dylan Bundy's good. I just want a picture of Dylan Bundy and Lance Lynn out to dinner, eating steaks and drinking gigantic beers. That'd be enough. It'd be worth the signing. I'd be worth the 4 losses he gets in a row before they cut him.
Exactly. The
Reading
month worth of
Biggins.
bad starts.
Reading Biggins and going to the fucking strip club.
He'd show up with a mustache too. He would mustache this team properly because I'm getting a little concerned about Dylan Cease. I'm not sure he's going back to the mustache. He was clean shaven this offseason. I don't know if he's going to do it. So we might need a mustache guy. So I mean, Treasy, bringing Dylan Bundy in here for 6 to 8 bad starts before we cut him sounds right up my alley.
I mean,
can't
it
wait
feels
for that.
it feels good. It feels good.
Ooh.
Yeah, get T-Pain.
Yeah,
T-Pain?
T-Pain.
If we had auto tune for pitchers, we could use auto tune for pitchers. That would be helpful. We put that in some of our minor league guys. All right. Next up is Danny Duffy. Intriguing or fart noise?
No, I have to say intriguing. You know why I have to
Okay.
say intriguing, Beef?
Why?
Because I mean, we probably don't mostly remember this, but this was a guy that I mentioned at 108 Day when we were talking about scrap heap pitchers. And
Yeah, I do remember that.
I
Yeah.
thought that this could be an interesting one because Danny Duffy was good. He's had a lot of injuries. And
was
he's
good.
one of those.
When he was good, I'm not sure we had a podcast yet. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah, Beef, I'm not ageist. All right. I'm not going to be ageist here.
Understood. Yeah.
But I think, like, he's almost come back and he's well, that's Danny Duffy can't throw.
According to Josh Nelson. I agree with that. Yeah.
That's a point against him. That's definitely a point against him. But he was a guy that I mentioned, like, this would be a guy to throw like a non-roster invite minor league deal at and see if he's healthy, if he could do something.
He ain't making it through the spring training.
The problem is, like, there's too much pressure on this position now, right? Like this isn't like let's throw it up in the air and see if it turns into sunshine. This is
keep the Harlem Nights references rolling. I love it.
This is fifth starter, man. This is like we need 125 innings from you.
You got to pitch, man. Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think I'm intrigued by Danny Duffy, but only if they say Davis Martin is the fifth guy, and we need to backfill the minor leagues and see, like, throw some guys at it. A guy that would be willing to say, I'm willing to go to the minors and try and show you that I still have a human arm.
Right.
I don't know who that is. So if Josh Nelson though says he's no good, then I'm gonna say we might want to give him a chance because Josh Nelson's a hothead. Everyone knows it, and he makes irrational decisions. Maybe we should give him another chance.
I love it. Okay, fine. Next up is Zach Greinke. Intriguing or fart noise?
Oh, I'm all in,
dude.
I'm all in.
I mean, seriously,
You two are frothing at the mouth. Even before we started, you two were frothing at the mouth over Zach Greinke.
We both knew we were going to.
Hold on. Beef. I want to have
put this back up here so everyone can see he's 39 fucking years old. Go ahead, continue.
Beef. When we had this topic in there originally, and I put up my put up my notes.
Yeah,
I said, I know he's 39 and isn't what he used to be, but Zach Greinke is such a character. I kind of want to see it happen. Like Greinke just being himself in the clubhouse can really shake things up. I just selfishly want some crazy stories and quotes from this era of Zach Greinke being on the team. And I looked at I remembered him with the Astros because I didn't pay attention to the Royals that much last year because who would? Yeah. He actually had a nice year last year with the Royals. He was like a 2.5 WAR pitcher with the Royals last year. And so if you're looking for a fifth starter and Zach Greinke wants to shove it up the Royals' ass because they haven't given him a contract yet, might be a nice guy to pick up.
And to add on that, Chirizi, I agree. We had TJ McFarland, who's a real MLB reliever, on. He said one of the funniest stories about Greinke ever. He was like, he said that Greinke was a nice guy, brought him, put him on private planes and take him golfing. But TJ had a bat one time, and he got up there and he just was just embarrassed, right? Like pitchers don't bat, especially relievers never do it. And he came back and he asked Greinke if it was bad, and Greinke was like, it was even worse than you think it was. It wasn't even bad. It was even worse than you think how bad it was. So I thought that was great.
We couldn't stop laughing when he was telling us that.
No.
The stories in The Athletic about him, they did that whole thing about all the different stories about him. I want that guy. I want, just like last year when as soon as Lance Lynn got hurt, I was tweeting, "Get me Johnny Cueto." It was because I wanted a guy who pitched weird. This is the only guy available, and he pitches like a weirdo. I want him.
Bring that guy in here, please. Let's have him.
Zach Greinke pitches like a normal person, but is a weirdo. I want him.
Been in the league for a lot of years, never been in trouble. The due diligence doesn't even have to be done. Sign him immediately, White Sox.
That's true about that part. Thank you, Kirk. He says only if there's a Danny Duffy hype video. Well, last time he played, it was in black and white, so we'll see.
The Danny Duffy hype tape is like a Frankenstein thing where they're sewing his arm back on.
It's a quick time video. All
right, who's up next?
All right, next up, old friend Dallas Keuchel. Is it intriguing or fart noise?
It's fart noise, but I really wanted to see this come up and just be like, so do you still think Dallas Keuchel's an asshole?
He's been lowered on the asshole meter after recent events.
He's in a different rung of the bung
of
the
asshole ladder.
All right, next up is Chad Kuhl. Chad Kuhl, intriguing or asshole?
Just because last year Dave was intrigued by him. Fart noise.
Fart noise.
I like it.
You like him?
I like it.
MSS is in.
30 years old.
Tell me about him, baby. Tell me about him.
Give him another chance. I think he was who's on my short list on something. And it was like, listen,
I've heard of this guy.
It was
on names that are cool.
No, it was probably a Sox Machine offseason plan. Like I was like, hey, he's young and he used to be good, or he was kind of good. Let's see what happens. He's young, I have a lot of faith in Ethan Katz and developing players that aren't accused of
just not background check.
yeah.
Developing,
just not background checking.
that aren't accused of, he said. I mean,
Accused.
he went down the path. Dougie Fresh says Beef saves his best fart noise for Dallas. Who knows? I might have one more good one in there, but you're right. That was a pretty good one. So
I like this
I'm
one.
not going to deny
Daniel Cook doesn't even begin to describe Dallas.
that. He was on 11 teams last year. A lot of teams picked him up and they gave him a start.
right.
They put him in the minors. It's like, you know what? This ain't happening.
Who was on more teams last year? Dallas Keuchel or Robinson Cano?
Oh,
You can't look it up. You can't look it up. You have to guess.
Keuchel. I'll say Keuchel.
I think it is Keuchel. I haven't looked. I just think it is Keuchel, but it's close.
I thought
It's
you were
close.
gonna. I thought you were gonna throw out our man's. Oh shit. Who's a prospect that we brought up too early from the Sox that got picked up by every team and then jettisoned out? Carson Fulmer. But he's like basically like Carson Fulmer had a good streak going too. He had like 19 teams one year. It was awesome. Like he can't be
Sad
that
because
bad.
he was
Stock
never
to
good.
stock.
So
Oh, no.
so I feel bad for him. I think these two guys had great careers, made a lot of money.
All right.
He's
Next
pretty
up is Mike Miner. Intriguing or fart noise?
No, too old.
I'm intrigued.
No, too
I'm intrigued.
I'm Tracy's intrigued. Yes. Why? Hang on. Let me fart noise it first.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Okay. There we go.
That's good.
he is fart noise, but like, he's a guy who probably could just throw him out there and get some innings. Like that's actually, you know what? No, he's fart noise. I can't.
See, I went to
make
go
it
look
make
him up to
sense.
see,
I
and then
can't
you're like,
make it
no.
make sense. I can't make it make sense.
All right. Next up is
school
is Michael Pineda. Is he intriguing or fart noise?
Intrigued because they're going to let him cheat.
Oh, okay. Sticky stuff.
Yeah, why not? Why not bring it back to the team? Why not have this be a cheating ass team? Get sticky stuff on your neck.
Dude, he's gotten so fat.
He's
He
fat.
needs that shit that Anna Nicole Smith was on. Remember when she got real skinny at MSS? What was that? Shit she was on, man?
Herbalife.
Yeah, Herbalife. As long as it doesn't get so far that it kills her. You know,
Well,
we don't want Michael Pineda to die from it, but you know,
I mean, you can
second.
throw him on some
Steve, I gotta-
ephedra, and then like look at skinny as hell.
gotta just bring him
his
down a
heart's
little
gonna
bit,
be
you know.
racing like a little one of those hamsters in a wheel, you know. But you know that's fine.
Steve, I got a question for you here.
Yeah, what's up?
Let's think about this logically, right? You know,
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
Let's say we give Michael Pineda, a nice. He's a big guy. We give him a nice meal of some like stuffed poblanos before the game. A lot of cheese in there. Get in there. Get that sweat going.
He's sweating. I was gonna say.
But that's a sticky sweat. Might get another inch on his curveball, man. I'm feeling this one. I'm in on this one.
The audience is saying it was Trim Spa.
Oh yeah, Trim Spa.
So I think
It
that's
was Trim
correct.
Spa,
I think
yeah.
that's correct.
Trim
So,
Spa is
Yeah,
cooking.
no, you're right. Trim Spa worked for me. Yeah,
Good job. Comments. We appreciate you.
She didn't-
I didn't know
she
what it
didn't
was
die
either.
from
I'm
Trim
not
Spa,
hating.
I used to
She-
sell
she
Trim
was
Spa
doing
in Armour
like-
Park.
She used to do. She was doing like a lot of like painkillers and shit. Like her son had like overdosed on painkillers and stuff like.
Unless you give him boatloads of cocaine, he won't go away the way of
Who's up
Anna
next?
Nicole Smith. So I guess he's
Who's up
probably gonna be
next?
fine.
I don't know
Who's
who's
the
gonna
next
die
fat
of
guy?
cocaine next. I don't know.
Next up is Joe Russ. Intriguing or fart noise?
Fart noise.
Don't even know who that is.
Fart noise. He was a guy a while ago, and he's 30 and he's never been anything.
Treasy had him in his Sox Machine offseason plan last year. He's already given up on him. So that's what you got to like about Treasy's picks. All right, next one.
My Sox Machine offseason guys
Yeah.
are typically guys that are either going to turn it around that year or we'll never hear from them again. And it's time to never hear from him again.
Beautiful.
Just like Eric Fetty, they sent him all the way around the world.
Next up is Aaron Sanchez. Intriguing or fart noise?
I'm fart noise on Aaron Sanchez.
I don't know who that is.
I feel like he's just never been healthy.
That sounds like a wet one.
It was not a good
What's
one.
funny
Hang
is
on.
I was intrigued by Danny Duffy, who's 4 years old and way unhealthier, but Aaron Sanchez too unhealthy for me.
All right, next up is Annabelle Sanchez.
Are those guys
Intriguing or
related?
fart noise?
So
Is
I
one
will
the
say
older
I'm,
brother?
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Annabelle Sanchez, just because
Everyone who's 39 intrigues you.
he's,
know.
but he's
Why?
proven that forever he'll just give you innings.
Yeah.
He'll just go out there and he'll give you
Well-
innings. They're going to be mediocre.
Loaf. You
But
know
if-
why
if-
you know why he's pro, right?
I do not know why he's pro. You tell me.
Because he likes guys that eat innings. He's a James Shields believer, James Shields truther. Anyone that can eat innings, Treasy's all in on. So
Anibal Sanchez in 2022 gave the Washington Nationals a whopping 69 in the third inning. So that sounds good. That's a
Yeah, but they didn't. He
As a
wasn't
reliever.
It wasn't injury though, right?
No,
It
he's a
was
starter.
just like
He was a starter.
he's a starter.
yeah,
14
but I don't
starts
think it was-
in 69 in a third inning.
I can't remember if it was injury though. I don't think it was injury. It was just like not good.
Listen, if we need our fifth,
Josh
starter,
Nelson's saying Joe Ross 97 ERA plus last year.
Yeah.
Oh, your guy. And Steve-O says, how the hell is Joe Ross only 30 years old? We don't know. We have no idea.
Not sure.
Next up,
Cocoon, watch it.
and final up is Michael Wacha. Intriguing or fart noise?
I mean, it's intriguing. He's probably actually the best guy on the list. He's a guy that like you could reasonably say like this guy might dead cat bounce.
Dude.
You might get something out of this guy. He's still fairly young. He was good. It's a bounce back year for him, which leads us into our next topic.
Well, hold on. The brains.
Oh God damn it! I
brain
had
is
such a
moving.
good segue, and you don't know who Mike
Brains are
Wacha
moving.
is.
No, I do know who Mike Wacha is, and I'm intrigued too. But also the name. Okay, every time he gets a strikeout, we got Fozzie Bear up on the big screen going Waka Waka Waka. Yeah, see, I mean,
You told me the Bears.
Yeah.
You told me that the White Sox don't have the people to do that, or so that's
they
not
can do
happening.
it. They could do that.
Also,
never
Pedro
said-
Martinez was all over that.
All right, what's
All
the
right.
segue?
Now that you fucked up my segue,
Yeah,
I'm just
true.
going to go back to the bounce back thing, and we're going to it's going to meander through. All right. So since the White Sox are hoping for like 1 million bounce backs out of their team,
Yeah.
there was plenty of guys on the team last year that were sub 1 WAR, either on Fangraphs or Baseball Reference. I want you guys to give me a guy who was sub 1 WAR that you can say will be 3 WAR this year or better. And it's because,
Yes.
some
Thank you
guys
for
say
making
1
that.
WAR, 2 WAR. A man needs to be 3+ WAR to get me off. So give me a guy who is going to go from sub 1 up to 3 or better for the 2023 season. Because at the end of the day, the Sox are counting on this from a lot of guys. The Sox are assuming that this is going to happen to many players on the team. So I want to get your guys' ideas of who are some guys that can do this. I'm going to start with my Sox summary.
So I don't go too deep on these things, okay? I only went to Baseball Reference, and I only looked at like regular WAR. I don't know the B wars, the C wars, the D wars, and the W wars. I don't know. I just know the regular one that was there, and I started at the list. And there's one person in our comments tonight that's going to love this pick. I think he had a .09 or .9 last year, and that's one of our starting pitchers that's going to be this year, probably. Phased out. That phased out. Nope. I'm back. Lance Lynn. I'm going to take that guy. He's going to come back this year because this is the final year of his contract. I feel like the big guy is going to want to play at least 1-2 more years. So he's going to get everything he's got and throw out there on the field. And if he doesn't get picked up again, he wants to leave it all out there before he gets there. So Lance Lynn is going to be pitching his ass off to get that option for 2024 or signed by a new team.
I like this because Lynn didn't pitch much last year in comparison to his normal season, and he had some rough spots. And he was on BREF, he was like I think 0.8 WAR, and it's a cumulative stat, right? So like if he pitches the whole year, like I think the only thing that could keep him from a WAR that high is health.
Yeah,
like if he stays healthy the whole year, I think you got to walk in the park here. I think you're absolutely right. He could hit 3 pretty easily. Pitchers can hit it a lot easier than others. So I'm with you. I think. Oh, I don't want to hear that, Sean. Sean says Lance Lynn going to be in better shape.
round is the shape.
Skinny Lance Lynn is bad. Skinny Lance Lynn is bad. This is one of the few players where, like, if you hear he's the best shape of his life, we're fucked. Like, I just want to hear. I just want to hear that his knees work. Like, as long as his knees work, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't want him skinny or anything like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a volume game, but he did still throw. I think it was like 120 innings last year, so it's not like he threw nothing.
Because they were leaving him out there though, Beef. Like you look at some of those starts.
2 years ago, he had 157 innings pitched, and he had a 4B WAR season. And last year, 121 and 2/3. So he's got to perform also though. Like he had a nice streak at the end of the year when he was quote unquote healthy. But if he gets nicked up or whatever, he's going to battle through that. So it's not just a volume game for him, in my opinion. Like if he was at 121 innings last year, another 30 innings weren't going to do shit. I mean, they would have lopped him over 1 WAR, so you couldn't use him in this contest. But it wouldn't have got him to 3 WAR. He's going to have to actually be good.
But he's got to be healthy. Like he wasn't. I don't think he was fully healthy last year. No. And you saw it in some games where it's like
he's going to lay off the Culvers.
you saw it in some games where like he was pitching poorly and LaRusse was just leaving him out there. Just like, what are you doing? Like, this guy doesn't look good. You know, it wasn't as bad as Lurie, where Lurie couldn't actually move and they still were making him play. Or Luis Roberts swinging with one hand. It wasn't that egregious, but it was like, this guy's not quite right, and you're just leaving him out. You want to get 6 innings out of this guy for some reason.
Yeah, Jackie, different. It's way different. When you're a big guy, and you've always been a big guy, you're used to it. When you're a skinny kid that becomes a big guy, no.
That's good.
It really throws you off.
And that's not thick Gio. Gio didn't like put on like a bunch of beef. He got ripped. Like that fucks with your flexibility.
It does.
That's why none of us get ripped, because we don't want to. We want to.
That's right. We need to stay flexible.
We're so flexible. We're in Cirque du Soleil. My second Cirque du Soleil reference. All right. Beef, who do you got?
You know what? I looked at the list of people here, and I don't mind your choice, MSS. I hope Lance Lynn has a big bounce back here.
Better.
But I was looking at who I thought could most easily do it without having a monster performance to kind of push them over the top. And for me, it's Yasmani Grandal. And Yasmani Grandal was absolutely horrible last year, but I'm going with the Fangraphs side of this because Fangraphs fucking loves his framing. So I'm going to pull the graphic up here of his career WARs, and like he's barely even had to hit that well to draw a substantial WAR. If you look in 2017, he had a 102 WRC plus, so basically league average and 4.1 FWAR, right? And even last year with the White Sox, he was terrible, right? Like unspeakably bad, negative 0.4 FWAR. On Baseball Reference, he was minus 1.4 BWAR. So I think if the bat just bounces back to respectability, it's not like there's a guy behind him. Like Sebi Zavala was good last year. I wouldn't count on that shit happening again. There's no backstop for this. They didn't trade for like a good backup where it's like, we're worried about... It is Yaz, and Yaz. So if Yaz is healthy, I think he posted 3 WAR season, no problem.
Beef, I think that's a great call because Fangraphs way overcompensates for catcher.
Like it's the framing. They include the framing in there, which Baseball Reference does not include the framing.
It's really strange, and like so, it's also why like I was looking at some of these things and thinking like, you know, a guy like Andrew Vaughn is going to have an impossible mountain to climb to do this on Fangraphs. Because like they disrespect the first base defense so much, like you can't gain anything from it. So Vaughn's gonna gain from going from being such a bad fielder to just not really counting, you know. So he'll get some points for that, but then he's gonna really have to perform with the bat, like big time, to get up to a 3 on like a Fangraphs. So like that, Grandal, you're right. He's in that range where it's like he's a catcher. He's just got to do so much.
I just hope as an old guy, you know, he didn't gas himself out here in the off season, working his ass off, as all the promo videos we've seen on the White Sox Instagram and Facebook page have shown us. So I hope that he's built, you know, to run and have some speed and some durability. That's the biggest thing I hope that he does, because him staying healthy is imperative for this season, like imperative. And
you're 100% right. 100% right.
We can't afford the fucking construction costs to make a bar. We definitely can't afford a new fucking goddamn catcher. Okay, and it's like right. 8 times what the bar costs. Okay, so we need to make sure that we treat Sebi with his with kids gloves that we have for him, and then hope that Yaz does what he said he was going to do 3 years ago when he signed him, and just mop some shit up. You know, like I've always been impressed with his bat when he hits. He just needs to hit. So let's do it.
He just has to hit marginally to get that, and that's
Draw
that's
some
the
walks.
thing.
That's
And
right.
That's where my brain went on this too. Beef is like,
Okay.
we had a lot of guys suck hitting.
That's
year.
correct. That is correct.
So I wanted to look for a guy who was close to the 1 WAR number, but was terrible at the plate. And there's one guy that just stands out,
Yep.
and that's Yohan Moncada.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yohan Moncada was so fucking good in the field that he was a 0.9 WAR at both BREF and Fangraphs. So both of those had him at 0.9.
Yep.
He had a 76 OPS plus. 76. That's terrible.
Yeah. Not good. Not good.
And terrible for his career too. Like even in the average ass years that he has, he's like a 94, right? He was like just over 100 in 2021. Like he had a very average batting year in 2021. 4 WAR.
Yeah.
So I think that he has probably, if he could just hit like he could hit like Maikel Franco, and he's bumping up towards 3 WAR.
His WRC plus was 120 in 2021. So he was
okay.
A good hitter. I mean, yes, he was a good hitter. That you're vaulted by a substantial on base percentage. 370.
It was the on base percentage day. Yeah. Okay. Because I remember he didn't break 800 OPS.
No, he did not.
He did not get up there. Nope. And so, but yeah, so like he was. I mean, like 76 is just, if he gets to 100 OPS plus, like just league average OPS plus, he's the 3 WAR player. Because he's totally at a tough position, and he plays it extremely well.
Very well.
And so, and you know what's funny? Out of the 3 guys we've talked about, Yohan Moncada is a fucking trooper getting out there on the field compared to those guys. So
yeah, he plays generally.
So like, even though like he's kind of like given a lot of shit for that, he does play quite a lot of games.
Yeah, last year was the first year since way back when where he wasn't playing the majority of the games. Like even the COVID season, he played 52 of the 60 games. I mean, it's like he's out there, he's getting it done.
Man. Yeah, and he had a fucking terrible year last year.
He did.
So I think if there's anyone who just getting back to kind of their normality,
yeah,
it would be Yohan Moncada, and he's young enough where it's like you think that that's just
right
how it should go for his year. And so
SPF brings up the comment. He says Lori Lightfoot has a better chance staying Chicago's mayor than Moncada having a great 2023. Here's the thing about Moncada, though.
He's a great one.
I was going to say, he piles up a lot of value without you realizing how good he was because of the defense, because of the walks when he gets them. So you watch it and you're like, I'm disappointed, but it is still a good player. Is it the player that we were hoping you were getting as the lead guy for Chris Sale? No, it's not. But it's still a solid player, and that's kind of the point.
But I think that you think so. In the comments, think about this. Yohan Moncada, as shitty as he was last year at the plate, and like there's no denying how bad he was at the plate. He was almost a game better than anyone else you could have put there. That's the idea here. Like if you're putting a replacement player for him,
right?
He's a game better than that. That's pure glove, because like anyone can get a 76 OPS plus. So like he's not far from getting to that 3 WAR.
Now, Chirizi, there are internet rumors because Yohan Moncada was my first pick, and then you said you had him, so I was like, I'll do somebody different. But Yohan Moncada is a lock in odd number years. 2021, he had a decent year. He wasn't horrible. 2019, he had an unbelievably off.
Yeah, he was a goddamn stud.
He had a good year. Last year he had a good 2 weeks when he was changing the gloves and the shoes. And it kind of worked a little bit, but it didn't. I never locked in. But he has a crazy upside. He has crazy upside. He is not Gordon Beckham. He's more elite than Gordon Beckham. So, and we kept Gordon Beckham around for fucking forever. So this guy can bat. He'll be fine. So I'm really hoping Moncada comes back and shoves it right up the ass of all the people that have been saying this guy sucks. He's a bum. Get him out of here. Fuck bum. You know, Hooters for life, bro. So
I love a Hooters for life. That rolls right into our ad read right now.
Yeah, I don't even know where it is, but listen,
Fucking
it's
perfect.
somewhere.
Fucking perfect.
He's still on his third taste. He hasn't had a drink yet. Don't worry about it.
This is why we should play my
Listen,
YouTube ad. Fuck Jacob.
You want to play it? Play it. You got it. There we go. Hey, my man Chorizo coming through in the clutch. Listen, fellas, this weekend, women too. Actually, this weekend, hold it up. We got to see the logo. Hold it up. We got to see the logo. Up, other way.
I can't see.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Right there. That is a 108 official jizz rag. All right. You can get that on our website. Now, if you buy anything this weekend, you get a free jizz rag. You buy a sweatshirt, free jizz rag. You buy a t-shirt, free jizz rag. You buy anything, free jizz rag. If you buy a sticker, I'm not sending you a free jizz rag, but I will send you a free jizz rag if you buy 15 stickers. So please go to our website, FromThe108.com, click on the merch link on the right-hand side, and you can go in there and we will get you that jizz rag. Valentine's Day is coming up. You're going to need it, ladies and fellas. So please come and support our website. Buying our merch is what keeps us free and clear. We don't charge you. We don't make you sign up for any services. We don't try to sell you boner pills. Please, buy a jizz rag. Yeah. You have not found the appropriate boner pills that I can say and attest to yet. So we're still working on it.
All right, fellas, it's time for one of my favorite segments. It is the stupidest shit we've read on the internet this week. I will start with My Sock Summer. I think he has a very egregious one.
Okay. Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna do my own graphics. So
go for it.
What's up?
So here today, or this, we got a group chat of friends among us, that send stuff, and this link was in there, and I click on it. Boom. New York Post. I don't know when they turned into the Weekly World News, but they have. They are new. The new National Enquirer, New York Post, under the sex and relationships tag. I'm dating a 23-year-old woman who looks like an 8-year-old girl. I am not a creep.
That seems bad.
This is my response. Really? Really? You're gonna say I'm dating a woman who looks like she's 8 years old, but I'm not creepy? Listen, first off, why do you have to draw attention to it? Why do you have to say that? Why do you even have to be like, oh, listen, I just like dating this person. Doesn't matter who she is, how old she is, how old she looks, or anything. Now, I know some of you at home, this is a very visual bit. So if you're listening on the podcast, look her up. She has a reality show. I think her name is Shay something. This is the picture of them together.
Oh, no.
And yeah, she definitely looks like the man's child standing right next to her. Yeah, again, really? I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand. No. I don't think you can do this. Like it just creeps me out. Like she's 3'11". She sounds like a small person. Her voice isn't like, it sounds like she inhaled a bunch of helium. That's how I'm sure people sound. But yeah, it just the visual thing and just continually saying, I'm not creepy. I identify her with on this level. You're trying to bag a reality star. We know you are, and it's also creepy, and you have some weird fetish. So that is the creepiest shit I saw on the internet this week.
This is a great question from Alexis. But is she never supposed to date someone? Question mark. LOL. Like, no. I thought about this too. Because I was like, whoa, that looks weird. I guess you got to find someone who's equally young looking like you. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm confused now because I don't know.
Tough. It's tough, right? Like, because like. I think it's tough for the person, right? Like you have to. It's similar to like if you're like a billionaire, right? Like you got all this money, and you need to find someone who's not into you for the money. This person needs to find someone who's not into them because they're a fucking creep show. Like that's. It's not exactly the same.
Yeah,
but it's a similar thing where it's like, how do I figure this out? How do I know? How do I know that it's like, oh, he just really genuinely likes me, as opposed to this guy's a fucking weirdo?
I think that she can date, and like I saw bits and pieces like quickly that they were like setting her up with like all these little people, like little cop, little this, little that. And I was like, usually they don't want to date little people. The little people want to date outside their group. They want to do their whole thing.
And my son's went way down this rabbit hole. This is what I'm realizing from this, Treasy. He went far down the rabbit hole. He didn't just read this on the internet. This was 3 hours of study.
I can't say the word I want to say because it's not good anymore. But I love little people. Like, it's always been funny to me. There's been funny things about it. It provides entertainment. So like to see this, listen, she can date, and I want her to date. And if this guy's legit and like wants to date her, that's fine. But he don't need to be going to the Post selling some story about how he's not a creep. Okay, like the guy that she's supposed to date, I would think is just some guy.
Put that back up. Put that back up.
What was it? I saw unbelievable.
Should we turn off the show? That's it. Right?
That might be it. Yes. Alexis asked if she should date Hezbollah.
No, I just hope that the guy's intentions are true, but the op-ed in the New York Post tells me otherwise. So I think she should dump this guy and just get with somebody else that isn't going to be like, hey, guess what? I know she looks like she's 8, but I'm totally not creepy. You can totally leave that out and not do an op-ed in the fucking New York Post.
Yeah, you kind of don't need to. You kind of don't need to do that. But I do think the Hezbollah is definitely
dateable. He's dateable.
He's dateable. He's
definitely dateable. Man.
Oh man.
Beef, where are you at with the stupidest shit you read on the internet this week?
It's almost viewing, but there is slight reading of this. There are a series of posts going around right now that are proclaiming that the COVID-19 vaccine has caused adverse effects, but it's these people like convulsing and shaking profusely, right? And so like these videos are popping up everywhere, and they have sort of the same like thing and I can't tell how much of it is troll and how much of it is like people are trying to legit do it. And I've trolled some of them myself, and it's just so ridiculous. But to me, like as someone who's vaccinated, who's double boosted, I'm open to the idea that vaccines can have adverse effects to some portion of the population. Oh, yeah. And there's no free lunches ever. So like I'm open to this idea. I'm like, okay, I want to see. But if you're trying to make your point by making these fucking videos where they're like the person's like doing this for like 20 seconds, and it's like I put out there, it's like I can't learn all these Fortnite dances this fucking quick, man. I was just looking at these things like, what the hell is this? It's like I don't understand the try to emphasize your point with something so incredibly stupid that the average person who might be somewhat open to your idea and would listen to it is immediately like, okay, this is just bullshit. I'm out. I'm not touching.
I just like, who the fuck? Like, who is this for? Like, who? Like, because like you're not changing the mind of a normal, rational person, right? Like you're You're just spitting into the fire of the extreme maniacs, right?
Yes.
You're just giving them stuff to send to each other on Facebook. Like that's all this is, right? And to what end? To what end? I ask.
I didn't understand it.
Like that's one thing about like conspiracy theories that I always like. The first thing that comes to mind is like, why? Right? Like,
yeah.
That's why I'm intrigued by the moon landing one. The moon landing one is a stupid conspiracy because no one could ever keep that much shit secret, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, there would be a motive, right? There would be a motive to get to the moon before the Russians, right? There was motive to do that. The fuck is the motive here? Like, what do you? Like,
I don't know.
Who were you trying to convince with your fucking? It just like. It's just so fucking incredibly stupid. It's so incredibly stupid that I'm just like, what? You spent time on this.
Yeah.
Like I spent time on this stupid fucking podcast, but like, good God, you spent way more time than I did.
I'm not shaking over
those
here.
videos are hilarious. I agree, Missy. That's why I can't stop watching them. But there's those, and then there's the parodies of those, like the fat guy who has like the kind of the big jelly belly, and he shakes a lot like when he's dancing, and people are putting the shit on videos of him like dancing like that. You know, it's funny shit. I love it.
I forgot who sent this to me, and I apologize. And I know some of you are probably in the whoever sent it to me is probably in the comments. Was the the Dak Prescott warm up?
Yeah, where
like,
he's doing the.
Someone tweeted that like. The Cowboys lost because he took that Pfizer jab and like he was doing like that warm up. It was a fucking perfect tweet.
Treasy, what's the stupidest thing you read on the internet this week?
So the stupidest thing I saw on the internet this week. So Anderson Cooper interviewed Rick Rubin on 60 Minutes this past weekend, and you've probably seen this clip by now. So Cooper asked Rubin, "Do you play any instruments?" To which Rubin responds, "Barely."
Yep.
Let me just give you guys a couple facts around this. Rick Rubin is credited with playing guitar on multiple Run DMC records. He has piano credits on 3 Joe Strummer albums and 3 System of a Down records. And the first band ever on Def Jam was his band Hose, H-O-S-E, not H-O-E-S, in which he played guitar. But fine, maybe he believes himself to be bad at playing these instruments. And I get him just gonna be modest and say barely. The follow-up is, can you work a soundboard? To which he says, no. And then he goes on to say that he has no technical ability whatsoever. He's credited as mixing engineer on 6 albums, credited with mixing and remixing on over 30 albums. And let's not forget to mention that he did a 6-part documentary with Paul McCartney, where he is isolating tracks on a huge fucking soundboard. He has pictures with Tom Petty where he's working the soundboard, Mick Jagger where he's on the soundboard, but this motherfucker has no technical ability
whatsoever.
So now there's articles out there on the internet because the people who write blogs hear this. And they just mindlessly regurgitate exactly what's said as if it's somehow true when it's demonstrably false. So my question to you guys is, why on earth would anyone believe when you're told that Eloy Jimenez is going to play right field for the Sox to start the year that it's actually going to fucking happen?
Here's why.
Outstanding.
Because they got fed that information. Because I listened to that Eloy clip, and he was just like, "No, we haven't talked about that. Actually, I don't know what you're saying."
Treasy, I think the Rick Rubin thing. I actually listened to a podcast.
He's trying to sell the book. He's trying to sell the book. I get it.
It's trying to sell the book, but it's also trying not to degrade people who do those things as their vocation, right? So a normal producer, he does not, like a normal mixer, a normal person he's worse than them is what he's trying to say. I don't do that as well as they do that. I don't play guitar like a studio musician plays guitar. Like he was given an example of, I think it was maybe Neil Diamond or someone that he was working on an album with and made him play guitar while he was singing some of the parts. It might not have been Neil Diamond, someone else. And it was like, the guy's like, well, I don't really play when I'm singing. I don't really play on stage or whatever. But he wanted him to play because he wanted the rawness of him singing while he's doing the songwriting thing instead of just like the professional singing thing. But he's like, the guy's not a good guitar player. I think he's considered himself like that. Yeah, could he play on a track? Sure. But he's not a studio musician. I think it's kind of like his approach there, right?
So trust me, I love Rick Rubin. Right.
Yeah, me too.
And I actually, I'm totally like the story that he would be telling if he were just telling a normal story would be like, I'm nothing in comparison to these artists, but I think I can help them. And I try to help them because all I care about at the end of the day is putting out a good track, which is seemingly true from his entire career. Yeah. Like there's like, I think one of the best parts of that interview that like really was good, but no one's talking about is when he says, I think about the audience last. Because the audience only knows what they've ever heard. They don't know what they actually want. And that is true. That's exactly how things get better, right? That's every technology that's come out in the past 50 years has been something that people didn't really realize they needed until they had it. And then they were like, I can't live without this. And so that part I loved. And I love Rick Rubin. I just thought like it was such a work, like the way that they were going about this. And then like when I was reading the Eloy Jimenez stuff, I was like, this is the same thing. They're trying to tell some bullshit story that's just obviously not true. There's just like, it's demonstrably false. And like you can look at all kinds of evidence that this is going to be false, right? Like, and in the Rick Rubin case, it's past. In this, it's present, right? It's going like, Oscar Colas exists. Like he's
exactly
like we've seen him. He's like it's not like we're expecting like it's not like we don't have anybody and right field's open. It's up for grabs, right? It's Oscar Colas's position to lose, right? And they're covering their asses in case he comes out and just lays an egg of a fucking spring training and they need to keep him down, and then they're gonna put Eloy out there. That's all they're covering their asses for. But it's total bullshit. Like they have no intention of putting Eloy in right field. That's a disaster. They know it. We know it.
Over under 1 inning in right field.
No, he'll play. He'll play
over.
Play
right?
in the outfield. He'll play in the outfield throughout the year. But let's not like they're
like he's starting out right field.
Putting out there like he's starting. Just like Rick Rubin is probably like is not laying down solos for anybody. Right? But the motherfucker could play guitar.
You want
right?
to
Like we know he could play guitar. Yeah, he probably has guys that mix for him now, and he just stands over their shoulder and says, "Do this or that."
Right.
But the motherfucker can mix a record if he needed to. If he went bankrupt all of a sudden, and then he had to open up his own studio, he could do everything in it.
Like the only proven bat that the White Sox, besides like your Tim Andersons or whatever, they have coming back out of the guys that were like, prospects that were expecting things from, is Eloy. So you want to keep Eloy happy, right? So you're gonna like, okay, you can play right a little bit, you know, or do this, whatever. You don't want to fucking piss him off at the beginning of the year, and then because you're gonna need his production. You're going to need him healthy, and you're going to need his production. There's got to be a happy medium between those two things. So let's just hope.
Cheers,
Thank
Shane.
You, Shane. Appreciate you. MSS is also keep him motivated to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, you're still an outfielder. We still believe in you as an outfielder. But he could see. He knows. They signed Benintendi. They got Colas. He knows he's not playing outfield every day.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not happening. But
hey, Zach, maybe running to first base one time could end the season too. So it's like the guy is not a picture of health. Let's put it that way. He gets sprained, he pulls things, he does everything. So,
but Zach could be close enough for us to hug him though if he's in right field. See, that's the upside. Exactly. We can get right in there. You know.
First off, I want to tell you guys, great job.
But how dare?
Second, I want to tell you that it's time for thank yous.
Ooh.
MSS, I've been starting with you all night.
Yeah.
Beef, give me your thank you.
My thank you is to Brian S., a.k.a. Magnificent Stan, for having me on It's Getting Drafty podcast this week. We did a Sopranos based draft, and not only was the draft high quality, but the overall content was tremendous. Little Yumper, Doughboy, and King Nam and me were all on the show. I even nominated King Nam as the most likely to fuck a one-legged woman. So go to the Tainted Glove YouTube channel, watch that video. Absolutely terrific. I think it's about an hour and a half, hour 40. The whole thing is worth a watch because there's a lot of Sopranos banter. If you love the Sopranos, jump on in there. A lot of stories, us going back and forth, and Yumper blasting off some drops in there is really fun.
Yeah, great stuff. I really enjoyed it.
100%. Nam, according to our Twitter, or not Twitter, our text messages would fuck a one-legged woman. So yes.
Wow. Yep. My Stock Summer, who are you thinking this week?
A big week for the bums, the Chicago sports bums. They're on TMZ, so that would be easy to say, hey, that's a good thank you and shout out to them. No, absolutely not. My shout out goes out to Joey P, who subbed in for Johnny on the Windy City Rebel on their podcast. But not only did he sub in for him, he embodied his way he is. He put on the big mustache. He talked very slight. He flexed a lot. It was an absolute great portrayal of Johnny. So my thank you is to Joey P for taking it up a level with his acting skills and just made it this made it work, and it made it way more enjoyable, especially watching that highly sexual YouTube feed that they have going every Monday night.
I love it. I love it.
It's easy.
I will start with, I mean, I think this is a GFY for all of us, but GFY to Mike Clevenger. We talked about you earlier, and you still deserve this at the end of the show. So fuck you. But I do want to throw a thank you out there to my guy, My Suck Summer.
Oh.
So My Suck Summer has picked up the slack on the question of the day because Beefloaf too fucking lazy to do it. And I want to thank My Suck Summer for getting out there, doing the thank yous. I tell you, I swear to God, I've never seen you look as cold as today. Like that video today, like it looked like you were in a fucking wind tunnel. Like your face was, I thought you had a filter on because the wind had ripped so much like skin off your face that like you looked like you just went for a chemical peel.
The little one wanted to walk to school again today, so that's what we did. And then I came back, and what sticks in my head is Loaf telling me that I need to take more than one take. All the fuck ups. So I can't do the one take with all the fuck ups. So I'm like, I got to do it right. So I start doing it, and then I start saying something stupid. So now we're on the 9th fucking take, and then it finally clicked. And goes. And so I'm definitely my gloves off because I can't start the phone and shut the phone off without my glove. So I'm fucking freezing. So yes, you are correct. You're welcome. Loaf starts his own show.
But it was good.
Monday at 6 p.m. You should definitely check it out. But yes, he is definitely throwing all his responsibilities to you and I, and just going and talking with.
I love that. I love that Trezo thanks you for doing 2 of these. I have 40 of these out there. Like, no, thank you though for any of those 40. Those don't worry about those. Don't worry about any building up the shorts. Fuck you. But the 2 MSS did. Thank you.
Those are the last 2 he'll ever do too.
Exactly.
No, I'll do
thank
one
you.
tomorrow.
You got the glory. He's like, I'm out of here. Peace.
I'll do it. No, I'll do it. I know you're busy. I know you're busy planning what next guest you're going to have. Zombie Jackie, I think, is next.
She is Monday night, 6 p.m. Yeah,
and my soon-to-be replacement on the podcast, because we already have my replacement in the tub, which was King Nam. Replacement on the podcast, Alex Rude was on last week. So everyone go check those out. He was terrific. Give them a click, like, and subscribe. They're on our channel. It's under the 108 umbrella. Everything helps to earn us, 33 cents like a day. So please help us out. We're like the poor African children.
I was going to say, like the kids Sally Struthers was trying to feed.
Yes.
We do need a little more than 33 cents to feed our robust bodies, but that's good and done. We'll take it.
I don't know, man. You can get rice pretty cheap right now.
Quit being Thank you, everyone. We will talk to you soon.